Joe Tegtmeyer, you know that Joe Tegtmeyer, the one who gives us all those great drone shots over Austin, Texas, and I think he's also been going down to the new factory down in Corpus Christi, where they will be doing the silicon, refinery, the refining of silicon into product that will be used for the batteries. That Joe Tegtmeyer. Okay, well, he also owns a Cybertruck and he also has FSD and he wanted to report on it. So here's how he comes at it. He says, pros, it is most confident and complete first build for FSD on a vehicle I've experienced in over 3 years of using FSD. It transforms how I use Cybertruck. End to end on the highway, has many subtle differences from the previous highway stack, including how it plans lane changes and takeoff ramps. It's capable of 98 to 99% of doing all of the driving I need on everyday and highway trips. It's the hands-free, mostly hands-free, is a true game changer and very much appreciated. Here are the areas, however, for improvement. Speed selection. This is, everybody's talking about speed selection, so I'm pretty confident that that is something that Tesla is working very hard on right now. In fact, it said, I think in the last release or somewhere, there was a very definite point made that speed selection is going to be improved on an upcoming release. It says often it is driving too slow or below what it thinks the speed limit is, but sometimes, especially on highways, it randomly drives too fast. Overall speed limit database is a weak point. And then there's also the question of how fast you want it to go. And I know that I believe you can kind of set it to, I know I don't drive it very much, as you know. I'm almost 100% sure you can set it above the speed limit if you want to. No obvious way or elegant way other than going into the sub-menus to change the setting from auto max, especially on the highway. So he'd like a better, a faster, and easier, maybe a verbal way to just say, please go faster. That, of course, is my ultimate hope, is that this will become much more of a conversation with your car where you and the car just get together, and talk about it. Lane centering. Sometimes FSD 12.5.5 hugs or goes over the left lanes, the left line of the lane, and sometimes it's too close to other vehicles for comfort. It says sometimes it gets stuck at stop signs with red flashing lights. As little as I drive, I've had this happen twice. Navigational database mismatches to ground truth is now one of the most obvious deficiencies, causing inaccuracy in land or route choices, either one. I've noticed the size and weight of the Cybertruck makes late disengagements and corrections more exciting in a bad way, as opposed to my lighter and more nimble Model 3. This needs to be taken into account more. Yeah, you got a heavier, bigger vehicle, and so it has less room for error. Overall comment, we grade, and many on social media and MSM obsess about FSD in terms of interventions and disengagements, and treat these as if they're commonly agreed on standards, but they're most definitely not. Interventions is highly dependent on personal preferences, which I spent a lot of time talking about that earlier today. And this widely varies from driver to driver. It's definitely not a truly scientific measurable metric, yet we treat it as if it was. Now, it may be a much more I'm sure it is 100% positive that it's a much more highly measurable metric when it comes to Tesla and the way that they're evaluating it. When they see an intervention, when they see somebody do a takeover, their computers can take a look at that and see whether it was needed, whether it was necessary, whether it was safety related. And I believe they can even do a picture of the future and what might have happened, what would have happened if that intervention had not taken place. The reasons for disengagements can also vary widely and based on drivers' personal comfort or experience levels. To my knowledge, there is not actual definition of what clearly defines a critical disengagement or how the data there is collected. I'm not sure how these terms and data collection based on them provides actionable feedback to Tesla, or as reported out to owners to understand how to measure and understand improvements over time. These terms seem to need more, to be more in the category of, you know it when you see it, rather than something quantifiable in any scientific way. And again, I think that's not true with regard to Tesla themselves. Overall, here's his final conclusion. FSD 12.5.5 is amazing, useful in a meaningful way, and almost magical. Yet there are areas such as speed, navigational database accuracy, last mile operational capabilities, and reactions to things like ambulances and on-the-fly route changes that will need to be added for true end-to-end self-driving experiences. But for sure, it's come a remarkable way so far, and I am excited about its potential. Well, then, meanwhile, Edge Case, that's at Edge Case, is out today after a week on Hardware 3, saying lots of work is still needed. And he comments, and his comments on this post were in agreement with what a lot of things that were just reported by Joe. Most of these issues seem to be odd glitches that might be dealt with in an update. More clapback today. This is a new story, by the way. I didn't do a good job of indenting that next paragraph. I got more clapback today on my belief that Cybertruck is Osborning Model Y sales. Some thinks that I get this comment over and over again. The customer is different for a Cybertruck than it is for a Model Y. And I'm sorry, I'm going to agree and disagree. There are obviously a bunch of folks that are buying a Cybertruck because they need a truck. There are a bunch of folks that are buying a Cybertruck because they only buy trucks. Even if they don't need a truck, they never use it as a truck. But they like trucks. They like to be sitting up high. They like to have all that steel around them. They want to look that way. That's their macho view of themselves, or their view of themselves as a trucker. But just for fun, I'll agree that that's true. A bunch of the 2 million plus people that are waiting for Cybertrucks are only going to buy a Cybertruck, or maybe an F-150 or a Lightning or something. But out of those 2 million orders, let's say 20%, 400,000 would be Model Y buyers if there was no such thing as a Cybertruck. They would be buying a Model Y, Model 3, an S, or an X. They might be buying a Chevrolet. They might be buying a Cadillac. Okay, but they would be buying something else because they need a car. So I'm going to say 400,000 of these could be Model Y buyers. It wouldn't, if there was no such thing as a Cybertruck. That would be a lot. That would make a big difference. Others point out that the Juniper is Osborning the current Model Y, and I couldn't agree more with that statement. I started talking about that in January when the Model 3 came out, and it was that good. If it had only been a little better, I wouldn't have thought that there was an Osborne. But it was so great that I immediately said, Elon, you need to get the Juniper out ASAP. This is going to hurt you this year. So I don't know. I'm saying Model Y probably missed out on 200, 300,000, maybe 400 or 500,000 sales this year. That would be a really significant number. Others are saying that the Cybertruck is hurting Rivian and all gas and EVs from other car companies. And again, I hadn't thought of that, but you know what? That is probably 500. I'm going to guess. I think it could be as much as 500,000 cars that weren't sold at all in 2024 because of the people waiting for Cybertruck. These are people that if they've been offered a Cybertruck for 60 grand in 2024, they would have bought it. Okay. If they're offered it in 2025, they would buy it, but they're waiting. And I got lots of, other answers on X and elsewhere of people saying, yeah, I'm waiting. Yes, my car, I'm ready to trade it in right now. Yeah. I've got a 5-year-old car. It's ready. Yeah. I'm going to think, I bet you that nobody is taking, maybe Elon, because he's smarter than me, way smarter than me. And he cares about the stuff even more than I do. But no pundit, nobody in the automotive trade, no article I've ever read. And until right now, until that one commenter made the comment today, I hadn't thought of it myself. I'll bet you 500. Okay, 400,000. That's significant. You only sell 14 million, cars a year in the United States, 500,000, 400,000. That's a big number. And people are talking about the interest rates and all these other reasons. I think it's the Cybertruck. Okay, I could be wrong. No one talks about this, but there are car buyers out there that are putting off their next purchase. This is Randy Kirk, by the way. Like, subscribe, notify, all that jazz. And then, of course, Patreon. By the way, if never mind. Okay. I was just going to talk about 1010. I don't have a ticket, but I am going. I'm going to be in Burbank, probably around. I'm going to meet with Scott Walter. Probably, I don't know, about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, because he's coming out. He's got a ticket. There's a bunch of other people coming out that have tickets. I want to meet up with all you guys. So if there are pre-parties, watching parties, after parties, please let me know about the parties. And then if there's other people that want to meet earlier in the day, please let me know. All right. This is from Fortune. Wall Street celebrated the Federal Reserve's half-point rate cut last month by sending stocks to fresh record highs. But the blockbuster jobs report on Friday also caused doubts to creep in. Oh, who said that Friday? Would that have been me? Oh, yeah. Oh, who said that this morning? If you didn't see that video, you need to see it. Analysts at Bank of America and JP Morgan, which was one of the few banks that correctly predicted the half-point cut last month, have lowered their expectations for a November policy meeting and now see a quarter-point cut instead of another 50 basis. But others on Wall Street have warned that the situation calls for even more caution from the central bank, as further easing could re-accelerate a still robust economy, threatening to push up inflation once again. For instance, veteran market prognosticator Ed Yardeni told Bloomberg Friday that the earlier half-point cut was unnecessary and no more cuts are needed, adding, I assume several Fed officials regret doing so much. Now, wait a minute. I didn't say that they shouldn't cut last week. Never said it. I said they should. I've been saying it for a while. I think we're already in a recession. You've heard me say it a million times. I think the 50 basis cut decision was the right thing to do. And I think that it was timely. So I have not changed my mind, but a lot of these people have. And why did they change their mind? One data point. That's why you can't listen to these economists. You have to listen to me. Listen, I'm not saying I'm any better than them. I'm just saying I'm different. I'm not an economist. I have a different way of looking at the overall economy that is based on being in business for myself, in helping other people with their businesses, writing books on business, and looking at it from I think a slightly more nuanced way, because I don't have to be right for my job, and I don't have anybody above me telling me how I need to be reporting. Nobody's going to edit my work. So I believe those are some reasons why I think I can maybe not be quite as stuck as some of these people are. I think some of them are just stuck. They have a reputation, they have some kind of a way that they think they need to be, and they get stuck. And I just think it's nuts that all these people changed their mind from this one data point, which I believe the data is rigged and stupid, and there's not enough people talking about how that information was not even close to being true. I'm just telling you, we will find out. We may not find out on the 8th of November that these, when we get the next report on jobs, that it might not take off that 125,000 that wasn't really there on the next report. Maybe they'll be smart enough not to do that. Maybe they will. Maybe it'll just go away all of a sudden, just like that. Poof. Maybe it'll be the next month, or maybe it'll be the 6-month report, and they'll take off 1 million jobs from the last 6 months, like they did 880,000 just a bit ago. No, I think it was nonsense. I think it was dumb, and I think these people are dumb to buy it. And quite frankly, Cathie Wood buys it also, although I'm not sure as fully. I think she's taking into consideration the potential that there is a problem there, but she is more cautious now about the decision. I just can't believe it. Ian Lingen, the head of the U.S. rate strategy at BMO Capital, said that while he still expects a quarter point next month, in November, he warned that if the next jobs report and inflation data come in too hot, the Fed will likely hold off on more easing. If anything, the employment update suggests that the Fed might be revisiting the prudence of cutting in November at all. Although a pause is not our base case, he wrote in a note. Lawrence Lindsay, a former Fed official who also served as the director of National Economic Council during the George Bush administration, told CNBC Friday that the policymakers need to consider how that rate cut was followed by a jump in the 10-year Treasury yield, saying it may be a sign that they are doing something wrong. Well, the Treasury yield went up a little bit after the rate cut, but it went up 12 basis points on Friday because of the employment numbers. No, it's crazy, driving me nuts. So my suspicion, he added, is that they're probably going to have to pass at the next meeting. No rate cut at the next meeting. And I think there's a good chance that that's true. Now, I don't think inflation right now is in any trouble. I think that the inflation numbers that come in over the next few weeks are probably going to be just fine. But what you got right now, what was in those numbers and was confirmed by the numbers from ADP and from these small business owners and from the ISM and from all these other places, all of these reports are still saying that wage inflation is up around 4% or more, and that wage inflation is going to end up in the price at some point. And so this is the ratchet that we have to be worried about. Top economist Mohamed El-Erian said inflation is not dead and that the Fed must maintain vigilance on price stability and the job market rather than focus exclusively on supporting full employment. Similarly, former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers is all upset. He says nominal wage growth, a key driver for inflation, doesn't appear to be decelerating. Larry, my man. And that the jobs report shows that any additional rate cuts require he didn't say a cautious approach. With the benefit of hindsight, the 50 basis point cut in September was a mistake, though not one of great consequence, he wrote. With this data, no landing, as well as a hard landing, is at risk that the Federal Reserve has to reckon with. Apollo chief economist Torsten Sluck, who has been steadfast in his view that rates will stay higher for longer, said in a note on Saturday, there is no need for more rate cuts. Citing the strong economy, low rates, the consumers locked into earlier physical spending and AI-related business investment. Even before the jobs report, other data suggests the Fed's rate cut last month was already having a significant impact. For example, the Institute for Supply Management, ISM, services activity index for September came in stronger than expected. Now the manufacturing numbers came in worse than expected. And by the way, the ISM for services was actually down, not up, even though it was better than expected. Businesses are already starting to see activity and orders rebound a little bit, but don't go crazy here as the Fed takes their foot off the brake. 𝐒𝐚𝐿𝐴 chief economist Bill Adams said in a note on Thursday, earlier today, that's it, I guess. That was the end of the story. I need to put little X's or something. I try to when I sometimes forget. Anyway, this is the story I've been trying to tell you. This is exactly what I've been trying to say since last week. The numbers are bogus. The numbers, it's a one data point. It's probably not going to impact the next Fed meeting. They're probably going to still do a quarter, but it could impact in December if we see another report coming out that confirms it. I need confirmation. I need a confirmation from anywhere else. No other stats right now show employment increasing. Nothing. Not one. Let me know in the comments. Do you know one stat that are suggesting that employment is going up at the rate that came out on this report? There's not going up at all. Everything says it's flat to down. Chair Powell said it was flat to down. Everybody says it's flat to down. And all of a sudden this one comes along and says that it's going crazy. No, nobody should be paying attention to it. And people are making decisions based on it. And that is nuts. Okay. I know, sounds like a rant. The second video today, let me tell you about the first video first. Earlier today, you should go back and check out both videos that I did, the early one and the middle of the day. The first one gives 12 reasons it would be not only smart for Tesla to do supervised drivers for Robotaxi, but 12 reasons why it would probably well, maybe not all those reasons would result in the stock going up, but if they do Robotaxi with a supervised driver at first, I believe that will help the stock go up. So it's a video that I really believe you should watch. If you care about this stuff, 12 reasons why I think it's smart. The second video was a video that I truly believe was one of the 10 best videos I've ever done. I've done about 2,000 videos now. I really think that you want to go back and watch this. It was basically a succinct analysis of what took place over this last week, Tesla and the economy, like 5 different categories of things that took place and that are really going to give you a good place to start as we take the kind of gives you an overall narrative on Tesla as we head into this historic week. I believe it will ground you and give you some I don't know. I just felt really good about it when I got done. Maybe I'm wrong. Here's both cards, okay? Find those cards right there. Tomorrow morning, Larry and I will finally take a look at that Cathie Wood analysis. It's already up if you want to go take a look at it. And there's an extra special thing that they did on AI. Wow. And we will report on that as well. It was maybe the best. I mean, yeah, undoubtedly, it was definitely the best part. And it talked about AI in terms of Tesla and of xAI, but also other companies. But overall, but just in general, it was illuminating, useful, helpful, and we'll talk about that tomorrow morning. Okay, that's all I got for now. It has been great talking to you.